Hello lovely people. Today I want to show you one of the remote tunes that I recently did for a guy in Poland with a classical Porsche. So you can say what you want about remote tunes. Some people say that you cannot tune a car remotely. It's impossible because you're not in the car. You cannot hear, you cannot feel, la la la, all that kind of stuff. However, even a remotely tuned car is going to sound 1,000 times better than a car with no tune at all. All the EQ work and everything, it doesn't matter if you do it from a laptop from another country or you're literally sitting in the car. All the final adjustments that being done by ear, that matters a lot and that cannot be done. However, with the help, with a good guidance, even a person that doesn't know anything about audio can do that. So let's go very quickly through the equipment and then I'm going to show you what I did with this. So this is a classic Porsche, so obviously space is a premium and there's literally no space at all. So it is a two-way system consisting of ScanSpeak tweeters, ScanSpeak mid-basses, an active DLS 10-inch underseat subwoofer, Helix M4 DSP amplifier that is running the whole show, and a Blaupunkt head unit that is like retro that fits into the actual car. Now Adam, he's a cool guy. He has a thread on a forum where he posts all the pictures what he did with that car, and here you see the Helix installed under one of the seats. So this is a DSP amplifier. These are the doors, so you have the tweeter and the mid bass next to each other, just like that, in front of the doors. It is a limitation. You cannot have a three-way because there's no pillars, and you cannot put the tweeter in sills. There's no sills. There's literally nothing. So this is the only place where you can put it. The good thing is that the time alignment between mid-bass and tweeter is very good because they're on the same axis. And this is the underseat active subwoofer. So we do know that these subwoofers are not really subwoofers. They're more like mid-bass drivers. They don't play low. They don't play high. They're super peaky. People in the Far East, in Asia, loves them because they don't take any space, and the cars there tend to have space under the seats for these things, or you put them in the boot somewhere in the corner. It doesn't take a lot of space, but if you're planning to buy this, don't expect any real actual bass from it. So the tweeters, ScanSpeak, these D3004, very nice, very low FS, 700 Hertz, not as sensitive, 89 dB, but very nice sounding tweeters. Mid basses are these, FS 55, QTS 0.5, ideal for the doors, quite sensitive, 90.5 dB, very nice mid bass, and as I mentioned, this active subwoofer, little box with no airspace. 200 watts. So let's have a look at the measurements and REW. First thing that I had to do is I had to choose a normal crossover for the tweeter and the mid bass. So since the tune was done remotely, so this is the raw measurements, we're going to go through them. Since the tune was done remotely, I cannot sit in the car, I cannot listen, I cannot hear. So the only thing that I can do is to put a very safe crossover for both of these drivers. So for the mid bass, straight away we put 80 Hz 24 dB link with Riley because it is the safest option. You're not going to stress the driver, and you know that's going to be perfectly fine. Probably you could cross it lower, but in this case I didn't want to. For the tweeter, since the FS is very low, 700 Hertz, you could potentially cross it lower, but there's not really any need. So I do believe I put 2.5K crossover electrical on it, just to be on the safe side again. So let's have a look. Left and right tweeters. The good thing is that between left and right, we already have a matching response. So it's amazing to see, and this is a very good thing because when you have a matching response between left and right, you know that EQ work is going to be close to identical for both of these sides. Now this is my target, and you can see the only thing that is needed to be done is just remove this mountain between 3 and 7K, and this is the part where the tweeter sounds harsh. So that floating myth on the internet that focal tweeters sound harsh, no, it's just this extra energy that most of the tweeters have. You remove this energy and it's gonna sound nice. And with this, I guarantee the scan speak would sound very, very harsh. So after the EQ, left tweeter and right tweeter, we ended up with something like this. Matching response, a little bit more energy here, but it's not a problem. Matching to target, very, very nice. Now the mid bass, left mid bass, and this is the target of the mid bass. So with the crossovers that were applied, the 80 hertz electrical crossover, I ended up with 100 hertz acoustical because I tried to match the acoustical to what I already have. Now, I couldn't choose the target higher because if I would choose it higher, I would have to boost this part and then the low end extension would not follow the target. So hence the target was chosen here. With the crossover, just chop off the top end, just like that. And then after EQ, we ended up with something like this. So yes, we do lose quite a lot of energy, but this is kind of a natural boost due to the cabin. So it's like cabin gain that you have in a car. So it's not really losing energy because we're more interested in the top end because we need that energy at the top end to match the tweeter just because we do not have any mid-ranges. And the bottom end, again, it follows very, very nice. So this is left. For the right side is very similar, something like that. Again, I couldn't choose a higher because of this kind of suck out between 600 and 1.5K. With a crossover, just chop off this top end. And then with EQ and a little bit of level adjustment, we ended up with something like this. And then the difference between left and right, the matching perfectly. We do have these little dips, but it's not an issue because they're very high Q, very narrow. It's not audible at all. Now the subwoofer, or should I say like mid bass. So the level is way up there. And here you go. It doesn't have any low end extension. It peaks at 70. Place maybe down to 60. There's nothing there. There's an infrasonic at 30 hertz, but to be honest, I don't know why is it there because there's absolutely no level there. Well, probably if you would have this in a boot very far away in a normal like sedan or like a different car, maybe you would have a little bit of lower end with a cabin gain, but since it's under seat, you cannot do anything. And this is a very typical response of a like BMW under seats where you have 8-inch drivers under the seat where they don't play, well, they play lower there, probably down to 45, 50. However, they don't play high. We have same roll off as in BMW. However, here we have this, a massive, massive dip cancellation at 97 hertz. And this is cabin location, cabin cancellation, and you cannot do anything about it. You cannot defy physics, so you have to work with what you have. Crossover, just remove the top end because we don't need any of that. This is being played by the mid-bass driver, just like that. And then after EQ, and we had to pull the level way down because the level was very, very high. It was something like this. So again, this cancellation is still there. However, it does follow the target close to perfect apart from this dip at 100 hertz, which is not that bad because the main dip that you can really feel and hear is when you have it like at 70, 80 hertz. But this at 100 hertz, it's not that big of an issue. This is a subwoofer. Then we have tweeters, mid basses, and the whole sum when you add them together. Now, the time alignment was done with a tape measure, not with impulse response, because Adam didn't have an XLR microphone. He had only a UMIC, which is a USB microphone. And with USB, you cannot do impulse response. The only thing you can do is take a tape measure and measure it. And to be honest, it's fine. It's not bad because everything is summing, everything is nice. Let me just put the whole target curve, which is like this. So this was my target that I was aiming for. You can do much more little adjustments, but we didn't feel that it's needed. We do have a little suck out, maybe minus 2 dB at 3K, just for it to sound a bit nicer. And since I like to have much more bass, like actual sub bass below 40 down to 30 hertz, but since this car couldn't have it due to space restraints and the little subwoofer that we had, I kind of compensated with a little bit of extra mid bass. So it does play down to maybe like 45 hertz. It's gonna sound nice, but below that is you're not gonna have any level. But it's gonna give a lot of kick, a lot of nice, warm, woolly, whatever you wanna call it, kick. So the owner was very happy. He listened to the system. He was super excited. He wanted to share with everyone and everything. And yes, remote tunes are not perfect, but they are good. You can have very, very nice results, especially after this, after the EQ work, when you sit in the car and you give kind of instructions how to adjust the center image, how to catch it, what to do, how to adjust the level, the timing if you need to, and that kind of stuff. So this system doesn't have any major issues at all. The only issue is this dip from the subwoofer at 100 hertz and the low end extension. But again, car audio is all about compromises, and when you have a very special and rare car that you cannot do anything with it, the audio system is going to suffer a little bit. So the bottom end is suffering a little bit, but the top end, I guarantee it sounds stellar and amazing. So that's it. This was a short, quick video about a remote tune in a classical Porsche with a two-way system, tweeters, mid basses, and underseat subwoofer. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.